Hi guys, Tom Hibbert from Winning Performance, and these are the top 5 questions of the month that were sent in. Thank you so much for all your questions. I had a real tough time picking them, but here we go, and here's the first one. What exercises are good for building work capacity for a loading and drag medley? What I like to do when I train strongmen, competitors for this type of thing, is to break it down and see where they're weak. So with the loading, you've got 3 areas. You've got the initial pickup. You've got the foot speed of actually moving with the implement, and then you've got the actual loading of the implement. So we want to maximize speed and efficiency in all areas. So the first thing I would do is I would break that down into parts. So you could do 3 sets of picking it up. I see a lot of people when they pick up certain implements, sandbags, kegs, they get really small things wrong, which then add up, especially if you're doing 3 implements. So if you're picking it up and you're losing a second just picking it up, well then you're going to lose 3 seconds to the guy who's picking up more efficiently or quicker. So the pickup needs to be smooth and explosive. Then foot speed, I would definitely break that down into just practicing speed. You need to be quick before you can be enduring. So practice running at speed with full rest. And then the load. If you're loading it onto a block, can you load it in one movement? You need to figure that out based on obviously the height. So if you can run to the block and then without having to stop, dip and load it up, you're going to be quicker running and just throwing it straight on, where you're almost out of control of the implement at the end. The other thing is people that are shorter have to work harder on it. You need a higher level of maximal strength. Me, I always did well because I was taller compared to the other athletes. I was able to carry it that little bit higher. So maximal strength can have a massive effect on how high you would carry it. With regards to the drag, the closest exercise that you could consider to quantifying where you are with regards to power endurance is lower body power endurance test of a back squat. If you're male, you put 100% of your body weight on the bar. If you're female, you put 70% of your body weight on the bar, and then it's maximum reps in a minute. If you can get 40 or more reps, that shows you've got the lower body endurance ready for the sled drag. So how do you bring that specific lift up? Obviously, the higher your squat number is, that's the base of the pyramid, so you need a level of maximal strength. But then you also need to train endurance with that movement. I would also consider sled drags, obviously, but I would use a lot of rest pause methods with that, not just long sled drags. Shorter, 10-second rest, continue. Another small thing I've just made a note of, the biggest pet peeve I have with regards to loading medleys or medleys in general is when people that don't sprint back, firstly, you should be sprinting back. You should have the endurance to do that. Secondly, when you pick up an implement, you should be facing the way you're going to load it. So if you pick it up and have to turn with it, it's inefficient. If you run around the implement and face where you're going to be running with it, you're going to save a lot of time in the long run as well. Next question is, what would I buy for the best garage gym? It's quite an open question, so I've kind of taken it down to just 5 top pieces of equipment. Otherwise, we're going to be here all day building the most amazing gym. You can go on garage gym reviews and you can see some quite amazingly kitted out. But if I was going to build a garage gym, or if I was going to train somebody and say, look, these are the pieces of equipment you need, number 1 would be a glute ham developer and reverse hyper combo. So you can do both movements. More often than not, I see people, they build a gym, they do not have any back extension equipment, which is going to lead to inadequacies in your posterior chain and more compression than decompression movements. If you can't find a glute ham and reverse hyper combo, go with just a glute ham, because then you can do glute ham raises, glute ham gastrot raises, and flat back extensions. So it gives you a wide variety of things to play with. Lying leg curl. Believe it or not, the lying leg curl in here is one of the most utilized, it probably is the most utilized piece of equipment that we have. You just can't get around not having one. Power rack, you can get power racks with belt squats, which is almost like a cable attachment. It's kind of 2 pieces in one. Rogue make one at the moment. I would definitely look at getting that, because it gives you, obviously a power rack gives you squats, deadlifts. You can do isometrics against pins. You've got a plethora of exercises you can use there, but then the belt squat gives you another cable stack. If you have a cable stack, you can do literally every other exercise that you were going to need. Bars, like me personally, I like the Texas Power Bar. It's a nice all-round bar. You can do pretty much any movement you want with it, squats, deadlifts, presses. It's got a bit of whip to it, but not too much. That's why I like it. So that would probably be the bar of my choice. Then what I would get is I would get a set of revolving dumbbell handles that you can load with plates. So buying a whole stack of Watson dumbbells, you may not have the room, it may not be practical financially, but if you get a set of dumbbell handles, which you can get on Watson, thick grip, and they revolve, you've now got every dumbbell weight you're gonna need from 3 kilos up to 50, 60, 70. Next question is, what does my morning routine look like? My alarm will go off on average at 5 o'clock in the morning. I will go with the lime and salt or citrus fruit and salt drink, and then the meat and nut or protein and healthy fat breakfast. Both of those two items you can read on my website. There's 2 articles on them. Then I would usually get into the gym for around 6. I would do between 2 and 4 clients, consulting them first thing in the morning. So I'd probably train around 8 a.m. So it's not a very exciting routine. It can vary a little bit. My favorite routine at the moment is when I can wake up a little bit closer to 6, maybe 7. At least be in the house around that time, because that's around the time my daughter wakes up, and that is literally my favorite moment, when I get to walk into the room and the first thing she sees, and she literally explodes with a big smile for me. So that's probably my favorite days. What are my favorite methods for correcting a weak muscle group for bodybuilding? I give you 3. So number 1 is the Frank Zane method. You can find it online if you Google it, Frank Zane. Weakness or weak muscle group method. So he would train the same muscle group 3 times a week, but with varying rep and set schemes. So let's say your weak muscle group is quads. He would do 10 sets of 3 on Monday, or at least this is the protocol, whether he did it or not. It's adapted from his teachings and thoughts. So 10 by 3 on a Monday to hit high threshold motor units. On a Wednesday, he would then go to something like 5 sets of 4 to 6. And then on the Friday, he would do something like a giant set method. Next one that's great for bringing up weak muscle groups is the double method, popularized by my mentor or late mentor, Charles Poliquin. What you do here is it's a tricep, and the first and last exercise are the same. So to give you another example for quads, you would do, say, 6 to 8 reps in the back squat, then 10-second rest. Pick an isolation movement, like maybe a leg extension or barbell hack squat. 6 to 8 reps again. You can get creative with the tempo. Then another 10-second rest, and you get straight back into the first exercise, which is a back squat again. Maybe you either reduce the weight, the reps, or you adjust the tempo. Another great option for bringing up a weak body part, again, it's a case of overload it, would be train the muscle group twice a day, 2 days a week for 2 days. So you would do, let's say, Tuesday and Friday, your weak muscle group is lateral delt. You would train them morning of Tuesday with a heavier weight, evening of the Tuesday, rest until Friday, and do the same thing again. Do that for 2 weeks, and that would be sufficient overload to kickstart that muscle into growth. Obviously, let's just assume that nutrition and everything is going to be adequate to bring your muscle levels up. What are the real benefits of CBD oil, and is it safe? Yes, it's perfectly safe. The phytocannabinoids support your body's endocannabinoids. What this does is it modulates your central nervous system. If you modulate your signaling in the central nervous system to the brain and back down, then you get a whole host of effects. One of the main ones that it's written about is stress reduction, immune support, and gut function. Essentially what's happening is your body's signaling is improving, and then all bodily functions can therefore improve, but it's a great option if you want to improve recovery. What I would say is you want to find one with 0.3% or less THC, which is the psychoactive component, which is what's going to give you the kind of side effects that maybe marijuana or weed would. I remember one of my coaches talking about a trip to Amsterdam, and their weekend was literally ruined because they suffered from anxiety. But if you have one with low enough levels of THC, you're not going to get any of those side effects. You're only going to get the beneficial effects of the phytocannabinoids.